Welcome to the Our Team Podcast, powered by eXp Realty. Are you an agent looking to level up? Are you someone looking to buy or sell real estate? Fantastic. This is the show for you.
Hey guys, welcome to the Our Team Podcast. I'm Brian Auer.
I'm Eric Johnson.
Eric Johnson, thank you so much for being here.
It's a pleasure to be back.
I'm excited to talk about what we're going to talk about today because there's been a lot of news about the market in the news, and stuff that, I rarely want to throw my shoe at the TV, but I've been wanting to throw my shoes at the TVs lately because I'm hearing so much garbage, even from people that I really respect, really good talk show hosts. I won't mention any of their names. I have in the past, but I have a lot of really good talk shows I listen to on a regular basis that are nationally syndicated, things like that, and I just hear the garbage that they're talking about the market, that the housing market, and it's all wrong. It's completely garbage, So I wanted to talk today about some pretty bold predictions that not only I have with a lot of my senior partners here at eXp, but also very well-respected economists and coaches and things like that. Brian Buffini was just talking about kind of like his bold predictions on the market. I've heard, Kyle Whistle, Dan Beer, Tom Ferry is just constantly talking about how we as agents need to make sure that we are controlling the narrative on what's really happening out there because the news is just ridiculous. So I wanted to touch on some of these bold predictions that we've been talking about here on our team, and they've really been resonating with us as a group. Plus, we've been able to, get a lot of content out there. So I'm hoping that those of you that are listening to this can, steal a few nuggets and get the message out there. If you're in real estate, that there's just a lot of things happening in the market that are really good as far as the housing industry. And by the way, real estate represents 16% of the economy in the United States. Did you know it was that much?
It doesn't surprise me. That seems a little low,
really?
Considering how much wealth can be built from it.
Yeah. I always figured like 10%, at least 10%, right? But 16% of the economy in the U.S. is from real estate. It's the largest sector. I want to talk today about what the media is saying. I want to talk about what our customers are feeling, and what we should communicate as a professional. And so it should be kind of fun. First of all, here's what's frustrating me so much about what the media is saying about the market. It's all sensational. It's all designed to get you all riled up. Clickbait kind of, so if you're watching it online, they want you to click on this story. If you're watching on TV, they want you to just be glued to the TV because they're using all of these phrases that are just scary sounding, like the market's going to crash. Welcome to 2008 all over again. Prices are falling. California's crashing. All this kind of stuff. It's garbage, right? What our customers are feeling, because they're subject to all of that negativity, is they kind of have the sky is falling kind of mentality, and you can't blame them. They have that sense of, oh my gosh, I missed out. It'll never get better. They feel super insecure right now because they just feel like, everyone's leaving California, and why would I want to buy here if everyone's leaving? And it's just not true. So that's why we're talking about all this stuff.
But it goes back to what we've always said, which is controlling the narrative.
Yeah, exactly.
I literally just had a conversation with a potential client down the road.
Yeah.
And I said, you'll hear, oh, you missed the boat. If you're not ready to buy, whenever you're ready to buy is going to be when the boat goes out.
Yeah.
You didn't miss the boat.
A professional should be communicating the real numbers. For example, 39% of the homes out there are owned free and clear. 39%. That's a big number. 29% have 50% equity. They have a mortgage, but they have 50% equity. And 32% are mortgaged homes with less than 50% equity. So when you think about that compared to 2008, nobody had any equity in their home, and they were all over leveraged, and they were,
It was waiting to fall.
Exactly. So it was completely different. Average days on market is, somewhere around 22 in our marketplace. It's somewhere around 22. It was 16. It really slowed down in February to 33 average days on market, which is still not bad. I mean, you have to have darn near 6 months worth of days on market, 180 days, before it's actually a buyer's market. So it's still a seller's market. When everyone was thinking that, oh my gosh, the market's really slowed because interest rates went up so fast, all it did was it went from 14 days to about 34 days of average days on market. So come on, really?
Well, it goes back to what we've been talking about, at least recently in all of the podcasts, where even still, that's only specific to some markets.
Yeah.
That under number, I don't think it's ever been 34 days. I've never seen a $600,000 or a $500,000 house on the market for 34 days.
Well, that's because you haven't been paying attention long enough. If you go back to even 2019, 18, 19.
I meant recently. I didn't mean.
Okay.
I didn't mean
in the last few years. No, absolutely not. But just before COVID, when the market was a little more normal, it was not uncommon to have 60. Most of our homes were selling. I remember bragging about how our homes were selling in 30 days, and the average was like 45 to 60. So they were spread out. There was more time to do your thing if you were a buyer, but the demand is still very, very high. So rates have increased, of course, but demand is still very high. There's about 3 million U.S. households right now making $150,000, and they're still renting. So guess what's going to happen when rates go down?
Competition.
They're all going to say, we're sick of renting, we can afford to buy now, so they're going to buy. So, things are going to, they're going to change in a very positive way. I don't know this person that well, and it's really not my space to talk about, presidents and CEOs of Mortgage Bankers Association, things like that. I mean, I'm a realtor and a marketer. So for me, I kind of stay away from, I see those articles come across my desk and across my feed and in my emails, but I don't really pay too much attention to them. But I did this time because Brian Buffini was quoting Dave Stevens, who was the previous president and CEO of Mortgage Bankers of America or Bankers of Association or something like that. Again, I don't pay that much attention to it. But Dave Stevens has a lot of really good things to say. And he was really talking about the Fed and how they overshoot. And it meant a lot to me to hear him talk about this stuff. He was like, every time the Fed starts raising rates to slow down the economy because of inflation, they always, every single time, and he just went back with charts showing, going back in history, every time the Fed raises rates to slow down the economy to help with inflation, they always overshoot it. They've never undershot it. They always overshoot it. And this time has been absolutely no exception, because he went on to say that inflation is nowhere near what people think it is. It really isn't. So yes, inflation is up, and it's not all Biden's fault. There was, presidents before printing a lot of money, stimulating the economy. So it's not just, it's not as bad as they say. Yes, it was up. What were they saying? 40-year high for inflation. And I don't remember what the exact percentage was that made it a 40-year high. But as soon as they announced that, it started to come down rapidly because of the aggressive, rate increases. So right now, the economy is leveling out in a way that's becoming a lot more healthy. So every economist that I'm listening to right now, especially the ones that are really paying attention to the housing market and really paying attention to mortgage rates, right? Because just because the Fed's raised the rates doesn't necessarily mean that mortgage rates go up immediately. It all depends on the mortgage rate projections and things like that. So most of the time, when you hear that rates go up and down and this and that and the other, it affects people's psyche, because people go, oh, rates, they just raised another half a point. And then so people looking for a home kind of assume, oh, my 6.5 just went to 7. Yeah, but it doesn't. You got to really just be really paying close attention to mortgage rates, because they lag, right? They're not going to raise. They're not going to go up and down with what the Fed's doing. But the Fed did such an aggressive increase, for, what was it, 10 weeks in a row or 10 months in a row or 10 times in a row is what it was. They raised rates. I mean, it was just nonstop. So it really did a good job. I hate to say they did a good job, but they really did a good job with inflation. And because of that, there's only one way to go now, and that is to lower rates. I don't know what they're waiting for, but everyone I listen to that pays attention, guys I really, really, really respect, all say rates they're coming down. But I'm guessing we're going to see 6.5%. I think we're already at 6.5%. I think we'll probably see in the low sixes by the end of summer. But I'm predicting, and my last prediction I got lucky. It came true. But I did get lucky, because my last prediction, when I predicted rates, I said they would get to a certain point because of these 3 or 4 things. They did get where I said they were going to go, but it was for completely different reasons. So I took credit for it, but I shouldn't have been able to.
Luck is good.
Luck is good sometimes.
I do have a question, though, before we continue on.
Yes. Is it about my coffee? This is Starbucks French roast, actually.
More to do with that raising interest rates and the people who got in while they were super low.
Yeah.
Everybody says when you're going to raise rates, then inventory should come up. Mm-hmm. But we're not seeing that. And those people that have all of the, 3%, 2%, mm-hmm. they're not selling unless they have to.
Who says that when rates go up, inventory goes up?
I've seen people talk about that.
Those people should be listening to our podcast, because that's not what happens. When rates go up, you see, most people that need to sell, most people, they are needing to buy as well. So a lot of people are in low interest rates. So when rates go really high, sellers are really reluctant to give up what they already have in a low interest rate. So they're already accustomed to paying, say, $2,500 a month for their 3% mortgage. That's a $525,000 mortgage. Why would they want to sell that? Or not sell that, but sell their home, get out of that mortgage into a new home at 7.5%, right? So even if they're moving down, they're still going to pay the same for a smaller house. So it usually you'll see inventory actually dry up because people are reluctant to put it on the market. When interest rates go down, you have way more sellers who are also becoming way more buyers, right? They're one and the same. So you see both happen at the same time. We have a shortage of inventory right now because there's a lot of homeowners that don't want to get out of their low rates. I have a lot of people ask me when we have these discussions, well, then why do we have so many buyers out there? Well, that's because the millennials are coming of age and they've never owned a home before. So they're all first-time buyers, and they represent the largest group of people, right? Of just talk population. The largest group of, potential buyers that can afford it and actually want to own a home now are millennials. And they've never owned a home before, and they're 34, 35, 36 years old, and they're hungry, and they don't care that the rates are so high because they have no concept of what's high and what's not. They've never owned a home. And truthfully, 6.5% or 6.7, whatever it is right now today, is still super low. Dare I say historic low. It's still within the historical low.
Try the 80s.
Exactly. My first home, I was at 12-something%. My parents still tell the story of how they got in their first home at 18%, in Mission Viejo. Of course, the house was only like $39,000, but
still doesn't matter. Your take-home income wasn't anything either.
My dad could not believe he was buying a house for $40,000. He was like, how am I ever going to afford this?
I think that's what we say now. And
I know.
how are we ever going to afford $700,000?
It's funny. We had a lender come and share some things with us about the market. He was saying, look, I bought my first house. It was $170,000 in Lake Elsinore. And I was shitting bricks. I couldn't believe, sorry to cuss, I didn't mean to say the word bricks. But he was freaking out about making his payment. And we all do that, right? I remember doing the same thing. My first house was $120,000 in Canyon Lake. I was like signing, I was shaking like crazy. Like, I can't believe I got.
Same for us.
In a few years, it was worth $220, and then a few years after that, it was worth $3. And then, I mean, that house today, it's funny. I still pull comps on the first house I ever bought. It's worth about $580. It's a very small home. You'd think it'd be worth more in Canyon Lake, but it's very small, 1,250 square feet.
Any land so that you could level it and build?
No, it's on the main drag, but honestly, it's just amazing to think that you look back. It's all relative, right? And so that's why I try to tell my buyers, and it's good to be that storyteller if you're in this industry and explain to people, look, I know it's scary, but get in now because the market is improving, the market is increasing. If you're on the fence about buying, what are you on the fence about? What are you waiting for? You waiting for prices to come down? Because they're not going to come down, because the reason they can't come down is because as soon as interest rates drop, which they have to drop, then more people are going to be out there looking for homes. There's still going to be fewer homes available. It's going to be a bidding frenzy again, and you're going to kind of miss out again. If you have fear of missing out now, how are you going to feel a year from now when it's just absolutely crazy again? Because Buffini and Dave Stevens and Tom Ferry and a lot of guys articles I'm reading in Inman and Barry Habib, they all know, look, we're going to be in the fives again in 2024. So we're coming up on 2024. And then
prices are only going to continue to go up because now more people are able to bid, which means that we're going to be back to where we were.
Yeah.
You're bidding over.
Will we ever see 3% or 2 point?
If we see twos, that our economy's not in a good spot.
Yeah. We're not going to see that. I think
low fives, maybe.
I think we'll see 4s, 4.5s, 5s. I think we will. I mean, not anytime real soon, but I think we will.
Historically, I think that's a true statement. I don't think it's going to be anytime recent.
Yeah, I mean, we've all heard that you're when you buy a house, you're marrying the house. You're only dating the rate that you get. It's kind of fun. That's a phrase that's been overplayed. But I heard, I don't remember who said it. It might have been Buffini. You buy the home of your dreams now, and you're just renting the rate. Then you refinance when the rates come down. So you're just renting that rate for a while. It's like if you can afford the payment, which is really what you're buying, afford the payment, it's all that extra interest is a write-off anyway, right? Just go for it and just keep watching what's happening. You're going to see the value of your home go up. You're going to have plenty of equity. You're going to be able to refi. I mean, these are my opinions. I don't have a crystal ball, but looking at everything that's going on, looking at where the population is and what population is coming of age to buy and what they really want to do is buy. There was a study done on millennials, and at first, before COVID, if you were to talk to most millennials, they'd say they don't ever want to buy. They just want to stay, more aloof. They want to just rent. They don't want to be tied down to anything. But something happened during and after COVID or through COVID. They've all had a paradigm shift. It's probably unfair to say they've all had this, but most millennials now want to buy. It's their main focus. It's their main goal. It's pretty incredible. I really thought it was going to be a generation that just really didn't care too much about that. But wow, have we seen a change in there. There was an interesting graph from the 50s. The history of the median home price has just been, there's been a few little dips, but it's always gone up, always. So I think that's a good graph to show folks that are kind of on the fence about, what if I buy now and the values, go down? Well, there is little up and down ticks, and those are great times to buy. But generally speaking, if you're in your home through a typical cycle, which is 9 to 12 years in the housing market, you're going to make money. And I would submit to you that even if you break even, if you buy a house for $750,000 and, let's say 10 years go by and the market really softens and you sell it for $750,000, you still made money. You still made money because there's so many tax benefits and things like that. And there's ways to leverage the equity, or when you maybe you had equity at one point, right? And so there's just different things you can do to really capitalize, no pun intended, on home ownership. Another good slide to show would be the current supply. If you go back to say 2009 and 10, the supply was incredible. It was truly a buyer's market. Everything was short sale. Everything was REO. There were so many homes on the market. And if you were an investor buyer, you were ruling the day, right? And flash forward to now, 2023, we have less than a month's supply. And we've had less than a month's supply for many, 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 many months. I want to say a couple of years now, and we look at that, how long will it take for the current amount of homes that are available? How long will it take for them to absorb into the buyer pool? And right now, if you didn't list any more homes, if every home that was, out there right now, just like faucet shut off, no new listings, it would take less than 30 days for every home that's on the market to be absorbed into the buyer pool. That is extremely low inventory. So, I think it's good. I think it's good to get the message out there that inventory is going to start rising. It's going to take, interest rates to come down. Everyone believes that is going to happen. So the fact of the matter is, if you're an agent, then you need to be ready. You need to hold the course. Make sure you're doing your coffee dates with your past clients in your sphere. Stay top of mind, because when things start to really, improve, and I think that's going to happen literally by the end of this summer, it's going to happen much sooner than later. You want to be poised and ready to go, ready in season and out of season to kick butt in this business. So I know that the tendency is to get kind of grumpy that, there's just not a lot of inventory and you're working with a lot of buyers and they can't get anything and blah, blah, blah. It's a combination between not being able to afford it because the interest rates are high, or there's not enough to choose from because there's not enough inventory. All that stuff is frustrating. But just find a way to have a better mindset and just stick with it, because things are going to open up, things are going to change. And you don't want to miss the boat. Whatever you're doing right now, make sure if you're a licensed real estate agent, don't give up, please. There's no need for you to do that. It's going to come back. Make sure you're staying in touch with your sphere.
Why are you saying all of this? Yes, please give up. I need your clients. Hurry up, get out.
Because I want everybody to do well. I really do.
Agreed.
I really do. I think that's pretty much all I wanted to share.
I think that's pretty much a good place to end.
Yeah, exactly. Good things are going to happen. Stay the course, and if I'm wrong, you can find me at my office and you can slap me across the face.
Oh boy.
Not you. I'm talking about somebody that.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Damn.
So those are my bold predictions. I truly believe we will see rates come down quicker than you think, and we will see the marketplace really open up as far as real estate goes, and it's going to be an incredible 2024, especially like the last half of 24 and into 25. We have the potential of having some of the best, most robust real estate ever. That's what I believe.
I agree.
Cool. All right. Well, thank you very much. You guys have any questions, then reach out. I'm easy to get a hold of. Until the next one, we will. Hey, wait, before you
See you
go,
soon.
would you do us a favor? If you found any value in this content, would you please like and subscribe to it? Maybe even leave a comment. It really helps us out.